Hello and welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. Today I'm making some ice cream cards with some digital panda paper. I found these on Etsy and I'll link the site below. And my mom really loves pandas and ice cream, so I bought those for her, and I'm making some cards to go with it because she wanted me to make her some birthday cards for her to give out. So I'm showing how to print these out. So first of all, I'm going to do the digital paper, and you can click on the image. And then here I'm just selecting the full size, and then I'm telling it OK to print, and I'm making sure it's going to print from the back side of my printer because that's where I put the cardstock, and then I'll print a whole page. Now this paper is designed for 12 by 12, but I didn't have to alter it to have it do just 8.5 times 11. If your computer or your printer doesn't allow you to just right-click the image and print it, you can make a Word document. I'm just doing this because a lot of people have Word. Just bring up the document, and then I'm going into the files, and then I'm going to select the whole page, just like I did before. So you can see it doesn't cover the whole page, so then I go to Wrap Text and choose Wrapped in front of text. And that'll allow you to increase the size of the image and move it around where you want. And then it'll allow you to move the image all throughout and even go to the sides. And this is another way you can print. Now, it did on mine, it didn't quite print to the edge, it just left about 1/4 inch on each side. I also tried to do it landscape and portrait style, but it still printed the same. You can also print the individual images in a Word document. So I just select one of the cherry wreaths and put them on a Word document. And I do the same here. I just put it wrap in front of text, and then you can resize it and you can move it around how much ever you want. You can resize it by grabbing the corner and just moving it like I did here, or you can also right-click and a dialog box will come up where you can type in the size that you want. And if you want to put more of the same images, which is what I'm doing here, I'm just copying and pasting several different wreaths, and I'm going to put the sentiments inside the wreaths. In order to add text to an image, you go to Insert and then choose Text Box, and you can choose any text box. I usually just pick the simple one. It has writing in it. You just move it over to where you want it and resize it and type in whatever text you want. And then you can move it to where you want on the page. One of the best parts about using these digital images instead of stamps is that you can write whatever text you want, and you can customize it. I don't often use text box, so I sometimes forget how to do it, so that's one reason I make the tutorial. So once you highlight your words, you can go back to the home page on Word, and then you can change the text just like you normally would when you're doing word processing. So you can make it larger, you can choose the font, and you can make italics or whatever you normally do in Word. And here you can just see me changing the different sizes until I get it how I want it. This is part of Team Tiny's YouTube Hop. So you can click on the hashtag below or type in hashtag Team Tiny Ice Cream Hop to see the other videos. You'll probably get a lot of delicious ideas for making cards. I was also planning on showing how I assembled some of the cards, but that footage of the camera got messed up since I didn't have my camera set right. So I'll just show you the pictures at the end of this video and tell you about how I assembled them. But I wanted to make this video because I'm also giving these images to my mom for her birthday so she can make cards. And she doesn't know how to use digital images, so I thought other people might need help with it also. So I'm showing you this again since I forgot to show you how to take out the text box lines. So you right-click, and then you click on the outline color and choose No Outline. And then it'll turn to a dashed line around when you're messing with the text box, but that'll mean it goes invisible whenever you go off the text box. Then I just copy and pasted my words again into the other boxes. Here I couldn't decide if I wanted it B-E-R-R-Y like a berry or berry like a grizzly bear berry. Anyway, I copied and pasted the words. For this card, I cut out the pattern paper with the ice creams and pandas, and I used a Lawn Fawn rectangle die to get the stitching around the edge. And then I cut out a panda image, and then I used my Lawn Fawn dies to cut out a Lacy heart and a rectangle, and I stamped my sentiment on it, wishing you the very best. And then I used my picked raspberry distress ink to go around the edges of my rectangle and heart, and I added some glossy accents to the ice cream that he's holding, and then I added, I don't know, they're not quite buttons, they're flat, and I just glued those on with glossy accents because that's really strong. And I also used an Enamel Accents pink to add to my sentiment. For this card, I just used one of my stitched circle dies to cut out the sentiment that you saw me doing on the computer. And then I cut out my pattern paper again with the rectangle die, so it'll have the stitching, and cut out a panda. And then I went around the pattern paper and the sentiment with some red distress ink, and I used Candied apple. And I also added a little bit of Enamel Accents white to where the whipped cream on the cake is. On this card, I used the cherry pattern paper that came with the digital papers, and I added a cherry brad to all four corners. And then I just used a hole punch to put in my brads. That made it a lot easier than poking it through the paper. And of course I cut out the sentiment with a circle die. And now the rectangle I put on here was the panda with the ice cream bars. Although I meant to put it on the next card. That's why this one looks a little busier than it should. And the next one looked a little simpler. But it's paper, it still turned out cute. On the final card, I just added some cherry paper, and actually I made kind of a strip in the middle of some smaller paper, but it doesn't show up too well. You can see the ice cream cones. And then I cut out one of the panda images with a circle die, and then I added glossy accents to the white ice cream, and also added some of the red enamel dots around the panda. Now that rectangle from the previous card was supposed to go on this one, and that would have made it look a little bit dressier, but the card recipient doesn't know what you plan to do. I'll make a list of all the items that I used to make the cards in the description below. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for supporting my channel, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.